Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. In 2020, President Rodrigo Duterte signed the Anti-Terrorism Act amid opposition from various sectors. The new law also survived challenges before the Supreme Court. But petitioners maintain this endangers democracy and could be used to quell legitimate dissent or as a political weapon. Now, the former president's own daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, is facing possible charges under this measure. Let's get on point with attorney Edre Olalia. He's president of the National Union of People's Lawyers, or NUPL, and a petitioner against the Anti-Terrorism Law. Attorney, it's good to see you again.
Yes.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Likewise, thank you. Thank you.
Bago natin pag-usapan yung anti-terror law, there's so much discussion way back, I remember, because there were various petitioners. First, I want to get your reaction on what happened today, the first impeachment complaint filed against Vice President Sara Duterte. These are 16 individuals, which was already endorsed by Akbayan congressman. So this is one of possibly maybe more impeachment complaints. Was this surprising for you?
No, not really. As a matter of fact, I've been informed just before I came here that my colleagues from NUPL and my clients like Bayan and many other mass organizations are feverishly preparing another one. No? I don't know when they're going to file it. It's not a surprise because it's been there, the noise has been there all along. No? So it was coming.
Is it just a matter of time?
Yeah, it was coming.
Ganun ho ba?
Despite the President Marcos's injunction, so to speak.
Injunction. No to impeachment.
Yeah. Not to proceed with the impeachment.
Yeah, actually, it's good to find out from you. What are your thoughts on that? Because when you talk to a number of people, nagtatanong sila, ano ba talaga ang motive or pakiramdam o saloobin, palagay po ninyo, ni Pangulong Marcos when he said, you know, it's a waste of time. Wala naman niyang magagawang mabuti sa mga Pilipino. It's a waste of time for both houses of Congress. There's a lot of speculations on why the president said that. What is yours?
Well, there are many possibilities, but I cannot divine really unless, you cannot read on a person's mind unless they articulate it, right? But the circumstances might demonstrate that there are other reasons that are not patent, no? It's too hot to handle, maybe, no?
Too hot to handle?
Yeah,
meaning?
Maybe there are secrets that might be disclosed, no? Revealed. It's anybody's guess, no? But for us, for lawyers from NUPL, the more important question is it a legitimate exercise of one's constitutional right to put our officials to account, no? Regardless of the merit, because I haven't read the petitions or any petition for that matter. But the more important thing is it going...
Why do you ask if it's a legitimate exercise?
Because it's in the Constitution.
Yes.
Yes.
So but you said it's a question among us lawyers. Is it a legitimate exercise? Indeed, it is.
It is.
Okay.
It is. But the more important question is, what are the motivations behind? The shoe is in the other foot now, no, so to speak, no, and it's like the usual cliche na weather, no, parang is payback
Depende
time,
kung
no?
sino nakaupo,
Oo,
ganun,
yun ang problema. Parang yung, well, it is a political exercise, definitely. It is the politicization because there are constitutional grounds, as you very well know, no, culpable violation of the Constitution, grave and corruption, betrayal of public trust. But,
and other high crimes.
And other high crimes, yes. All the whole caboodle. Yeah.
Yun na yung catch-all and other high crimes. I'm interested to get your thoughts on that because you were saying that what is the motivation? And yet you say, which we all know, it is a political exercise. How does one reconcile both? I mean, do you really have to have a legitimate motivation? Because at the end of the day, it is a political exercise. So whether your motivation has merit or not, or maybe a soft merit or a weak merit, at the end of the day, it's still really a political exercise. It's 1/3 of the votes at the House of Representatives.
Yes, correct. But there should be some basis also
Yeah.
for the political exercise, and it's defined in the Constitution. And there's jurisprudence, right? Because it's not the first impeachment case. We've handled also several impeachment cases, no? Former presidents, former ombudsmen. So it's not new to us, no? While recognizing that it is a political exercise in the sense that it is not a judicial function, because it's the legislators that are going to decide, 1/3 in the lower house, 2/3 in the Senate. So it's a question of votes. It's a question of numbers.
It's a question of numbers.
Yes, because it's
correct.
appreciation.
Yeah.
It's a subjective evaluation of what will be submitted before them. But the subjectivity differ, right?
Is it a subjective evaluation,
It could
or
be.
is it really up to the leadership?
Yes, because you can see the same thing in different ways, right? And people will see things in different ways, no? But they see the same thing. So it's really a matter of appreciation. Not to say, though, that there are motivations, even in those subjective evaluation, of course, no?
But so far with the hearings that have been held at the House of Representatives, again, of course, there are two, the Quadcom Committee, and then you also have the Good Government, which basically is the Blue Ribbon Committee at the House of Representatives. Has that helped, do you think? I mean, does it help to make us understand confidential funds, or how it should be utilized, or what is the methodology by which they should be utilized, or should we have stricter measures to look into confidential funds? Because after all, it is the money of the people.
Oh, yes, certainly. It has been demonstrated that the hearings, especially in the House, have provided ample opportunity for the public to really know the inside story, so to speak, no? Because the power of the legislature to investigate is plenary, because it's in aid of legislation. It can be justified. You can ask so many questions which normally will not be asked in other forum, because it can be under the rubric of in aid of legislation, which is prospective, right? You are gathering facts, getting information
For future
amendment or
laws,
legislation,
yes.
right? So the plenary power is really very broad.
Yeah. So that has helped, you think?
Yes, of course, yeah.
The hearings so far.
Yeah.
And would you say that there are grounds to impeach the Vice President with what you've seen or
Yes,
heard?
on the face of it, because they cannot really explain all those disbursements, all those paperwork, those funny names that are being put in those acknowledgement receipts, and how come you spend so many millions in confidential funds. You cannot even explain. And then the evasive answers of the resource persons in the camp of the Vice President. Those are indicators that there is more to it than meets the eye.
So there is basis, but do you think that at any given point, or maybe not at any given point, but do you believe that there has been an abuse of power by some of the congressmen, you think?
How do you mean?
Well, of course, if you listen to the Vice President, she'll say that, Congress has terrorized members of the Office of the Vice President, or even the Department of Education. There will be also some netizens who will say that, pwede ba yan? Papasagutin niyo yung tao, yes or no lang, ganon. Siyempre, yung mga resource persons, sinanervyos din habang humaharap sila. May nakita ho ba kayong dapat baguhin o posibleng pag-aabuso doon sa House hearings?
Siguro sa manero, in the manner of questioning, no? Probably it must baka less hostile, no? I've seen also some congressional hearings in other countries, no? It's not as intense, no? Or as
aggressive?
Yeah, maybe so. But you can ask questions in many ways. But you choose between being abrasive and being a little gentle. Then you go to the gentle side. Unless, of course, the resource person would provoke the committee and the House because the answers may be regarded as disrespectful, as being evasive, as even telling a lie, no? Because they can see through. Yeah.
And that's what happens when they are cited in contempt. We are going to discuss the anti-terror law because the subpoena issued by the NBI to the Vice President to show up, supposed to be, I believe, last Friday rather, rescheduled to December 11, contains two things because of her press conferences. One is grave threats, possible grave threats, and the other one is the anti-terror law. We're going to discuss that after the break. This is On Point. Please stay tuned.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Orata, and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world.
Stay ahead of the curve with the latest on financial dynamics.
Government officials are praising the recent move by the S&P Global. The Philippine stock market continues to plummet. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority is on track.
Join us as we delve into the evolving economic landscape. Mikey Oreta, Basis Points. 9:30 a.m. only on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Still with us, NUPL President Attorney Edre Olalia. Anti-terror law. There were opposition, number of groups opposing this. I do recall, Attorney, of course, you're one of them, hindi ho ba, na nag-oppose ito? Kasi ayaw ng mga oppositors yung terrorism description. I remember because you guys were saying it's a vague description, and also there were supposed to be parts of this law that you felt were, prone to abuse or could be unconstitutional. Siguro as a summary, para po mabalikan natin,
Sige.
tell us your opposition to the anti-terror law.
But very quickly, Pinky, if you don't mind, I'm already the chairperson of NUPL right now.
Ay, sinabi ko ba, President?
Yeah, that's all right. That's all
Sino
right.
ho ba mas mataas, chairperson or
No, it doesn't
president?
matter.
I'm kidding. Okay,
We're all serving the people.
chairperson, let's fix that. Okay.
Okay. So going back, there are many provisions in the anti-terrorism law that we question because, lest I be misconstrued, no, we already accepted that it has been declared constitutional by our Supreme Court. Let me put that aside now. No? We respect the decision. It's constitutional, even if we maintain that it is still a dangerous law. All right. Easily, there are three provisions there. One definitely will be the definition itself, Section 4, I think. No. The other one will be the designation of individuals, organizations, and the third is arrests without judicial warrants, and many others. No. Lack of time, we can focus on these three. The definition itself is very broad and vague. If you revisit the definition, it could cover almost anything.
Ayan na po, we're showing it
Yeah.
on air, no?
Yeah.
So terrorism is committed by any person who, within or outside the Philippines, regardless of the stage of execution, engages in acts intended to cause death. So ibig sabihin, anybody who is guilty of causing serious bodily injury or death to any person. Tama ho, Attorney?
Yeah, that's correct.
Pangalawa, engages in acts intended to cause extensive damage or destruction to a government, sabihin na po natin, binomba, hindi ho ba? Yung mga ganyan, public place or private property. Or extensive damage, pwede din pong sinunog, tama ho kaya yon. C, engages in acts intended to cause extensive interference with, damage, or destruction to critical infrastructure. I guess an example would be yung sinisira po ng mga towers.
All right.
Okay? And then D, develops, manufactures, possesses, acquires, transports, supplies, uses weapons, explosives, etc. E, release of dangerous substance or causing fire, floods, or explosion. Well, there are subtexts to the definition, and you say it's vague. Why is that?
Well, to start with, Pinky, as far as I know, there is no universally accepted definition of terrorism. Not one definition is shared by all the countries. No, so that depends on the country's legislation. It's overbroad and vague because if you examine the text itself, it could qualify as murder. It could qualify as arson, right? It can qualify as damage to property, but it is contextualized because if you proceed to the other part of the definition, it also mentions that the subjective appreciation in the nature and context that it is for the purpose of creating an atmosphere to spread a message of fear, to intimidate the general public, and so on and so forth. In the first place, if you see the definition under Section 4A and B and even C, You notice that the word intention, intended. So that is a very subjective thing. What is the objective standard of measuring intention?
One's intention?
Yes.
Okay.
Right? So, but you have to read it in the whole definition itself. But the problem is, even the most innocuous behavior can be qualified and seen by the powers that be as terrorism. And we've seen that already.
And who are the powers that be?
Of course, it's a state, no? From the ordinary citizens, I can tell you the most absurd cases.
Which you will, because
Yes.
yeah, I think people need to know
Yes.
exactly what you are talking about. So
Yes.
maganda ho kasi yung sinabi niyo, kasi yung madaling intindihin yung, kasi hindi po kami abogado, murder, yung po, arson, ano yung isa yung damage to
Damage to
property,
property,
yan tatlo, naiintindihan po natin yan. Pero hindi ho ba pagka sinabi yun, kailangan ka ba maging terorista para pasok ka dun sa anti-terror law? And I guess the answer is no. You do
No.
not have to be a terrorist,
No.
right?
No.
Okay. So, bigyan niyo po kami ng mga halimbawa ng mga kaso.
Nako, siyempre, ang pinakatampok na halimbawa, yung mga human rights defenders and activists, no? We've handled many cases until now na activists, human rights defenders are in jail or being charged in many parts of the country saying that they participated in an ambush of 30 NPAs in the hinterlands of Surigao del Sur, in a place that this guy has never been to in his entire life. And then the witnesses by the state, by the military, can identify all these 30 NPAs while they were firing at each other. All their names are complete. So see, I call that teletransportation. No, I mean you can be in two places at one time. No, you've been in Quezon City the whole your life, and then you participate in ambush several kilometers away.
You're talking about the suspects.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the most absurd thing, I can point out three. One case charged two paralegals who visited political prisoners in, let me see, in Quezon. They brought food, medicines, and gave them 500 pesos. Because there's not enough money to buy food, no? They were charged with terrorism, aiding, giving material support to terrorists.
Because they gave food and 500 pesos.
Yes, all right?
But you're a paralegal.
Exactly, even if you're not. It's giving 500 pesos to buy food and medicine and act of terrorism. That's the first case. A second case, there's this person.
So dalawa talaga?
Oo.
So kulong din sila?
Hindi, na-dismiss namin.
Okay.
Sa prosecution. See the absurdity. Buti na lang, kahit sa prosecution level, nakita kagad yung kalokohan. No?
That it's absurd.
It's absurd, yeah. The other one, nagluto ng adobo. May mga kumain. Di umano daw ay kumain mga NPA. Terrorism yun. Kinasuhan din. Oh. Yung isa,
But what happened to that case?
let me see. That baka ongoing pa yan. I'm not mixing my facts. But the point is, they were charged.
Sandali,
No?
saan sila nagluto ng adobo at pinakain?
Siyempre, doon sa karinderya. Oo. At binila. Itong third, may tindahan sa Sagada. May bumili. NPA daw. Di material, ano yun? Material support to a terrorist organization.
Anong binili nung...
Hindi ko na alam. Hindi ko na alam, but doesn't matter. but talagang it's laughable if it were not serious.
No,
right.
I'm sorry. I
No.
didn't mean to make a joke. I mean,
Yes.
because if that was you, obviously, or kakapamilya mo yan,
Yeah.
hindi ka tawa-tawa yan.
Yeah.
It just, I was laughing because it seems absurd.
It's absurd. Yeah, it's laughable because it's absurd.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it really happened.
It really happened. You have cases, okay? We're not even talking about the human rights defenders who are being charged left and right.
So paralegals na nagpunta sa isang kulungan dahil may charge for under the anti-terror law.
Hindi pa nga eh. Iba pang charge pa nga eh. Sila nga na-charge ng anti-terrorism.
So hindi sila, yung kanilang binisita,
Hindi.
nagbigay lang sila
Yes,
ng pagkain at 500, sila na yung
gamot.
charge under anti-terror.
Yes,
That's one.
na-dismiss yun.
And then the other one was yung sinabi mo, nagluto ng adobo. At may kumain ng mga NPA.
Daw.
Tama ho ba? So under anti-terror law, I don't seem to understand it.
Maybe they don't like adobo. I don't know.
And then the other one was may binili.
Sari-sari store.
Yung sa sari-sari
Sagada,
store.
yeah.
Okay, it really does.
And these are ordinary people. Remember, during the pandemic, I remember even the woman who was the pantry, yung bibigay.
yung
Di ba dyan sa Quezon City?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll get back.
She was
I'll
threatened.
remember
Oh, buti na lang hindi natuloy. Even celebrities and ano, no? But anyway, they did not proceed, no?
But how, siguro if somebody asks you, attorney, how is that possible?
Well, it's possible because they can just file it, no? But whether it's going to prosper, definitely not. But the problem is,
But even filing it to me is already wrong.
Exactly.
The moment you do that and you put that person under a lot of stress because of an absurd accusation, is already wrong to begin with.
It's an injustice.
Dapat sila din makasuhan. Dapat may countercharge.
meron kaming ganyan.
Ah, okay.
Meron naman kaming ganyan.
Is it nag-prosper? Ho ba?
Meron naman kaming ganyan.
Ah, okay.
Meron naman. Kasi may mga professional witnesses or regular attorneys di umano, no? Tapos sabihin this and that and that,
Right.
no?
So, okay, so let's go back to the Vice President because that was part of the subpoena that was issued to her by the NBI. Again, grave threats. And possibly lang naman ito no, sa anti-terror. May nakikita ho ba kayo doon sa sinabi niyang, sa kanyang press conference that may form part or be penalize her under the anti-terror law?
Medyo tricky Pinky, kasi baka makanalize yung conversation into these intramurals between two political
Okay.
camps, no?
Okay.
Let's not give that impression, no? But as a lawyer, objectively, without in any way siding with any of them, no?
Opo.
As a lawyer,
That's what I want. I
it's
don't-
very doubtful. It's very doubtful. Because if you look at the definition, even broad and vague as it is, how could threatening a killing of public officials in the future, when you are killed yourself, amount to terrorism? Even in the ordinary
Really?
layman's conceptualization, terrorism gives you the impression that there are many victims, civilians, no? Tapos yung intensity tsaka magnitude talagang matindi. And this is a intramural between two political elites, no? So tingin ko, even as the law defines it, vague and overbroad as it already is, and that's precisely the point, right? Because you can just shoot all these things into the basket of the definition.
I was talking to Yusek Andres the other week, and he was talking about, there are sections doon mismo sa definition, from what I recall, ng terrorism, hindi pasok dyan sa Section 4, pero pasok siya dito sa Sections 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're gonna talk about that after the break. This is On Point. Good morning, everyone! Wait for the
Join Paulo Del Rosario
Cannot wait to celebrate Christmas with all of you.
and Asis Carilo
Choose joy, spread kindness, and pack your own sunshine.
and Monique Tuzon.
We hope you all have a great day ahead. Let's get the high energy started to make this hump day unforgettable. Only here on It's a Beautiful Day!
Welcome back. I'm Pinky Webb. You're still watching On Point. Still with us, attorney Edre Olalia. Okay, so Section 5, 6, 7, and 8 under the Anti-Terror Law of 2020. Well, madami ho siya, no? But I'm sure we can put it up on the screen. There's a threat to commit terrorism, planning, training, conspiracy to commit terrorism, and proposal to commit terrorism. I guess my question is, as a layman, when is murder terrorism? Or when is terrorism murder? Kasi nakasulat po, threat to commit terrorism. But then, of course, this is subject to the definition of
Yeah,
terrorism,
exactly.
hindi ho ba, sa
Exactly.
Section 4? So, pwede ho bang pakipaliwanag sa amin?
Hindi, ganito. Kung yung definition itself, which is the source of the concept of the crime being penalized, is already vague and broad, then any act related to that, proposal,
Right.
threat,
Right.
conspiracy, suffers the same.
Because it's broad.
Yeah.
Because you're saying.
The water cannot rise above the source,
Opo,
di ba?
pero ito na po siya broad as it is, as you're saying, di ho ba? Yan na yung definition eh.
Yeah.
So, pasok ho ito Si sections 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dito sa uh, s- definition ng terrorism, am I getting it right?
Yes, but that
sir?
is to concede that the definition is
Meron ho bang to intimidate the general public? I mean, can terrorism be murder of 3 people?
no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Then
I don't think so.
hindi siya pasok sa anti-terror
Yes,
law.
yes, yeah. In that particular no.
Is it a matter of numbers? Ganun
No,
ho
no, no,
ba,
no, no.
attorney? What is it?
No, it's the effect and the intensity of the act on the populace. No?
Okay, I'm
Yeah?
sorry, I'm going to
Yeah?
stop you there.
Yeah.
Effect on the populace.
Yes.
If you have the president, the first lady, and the House Speaker, for example lang po, for the sake of argument, killed, that will have an effect on the populace.
That's stretching it.
Is it?
It's too far away. In other words, the effect and the intensity and the magnitude of the so-called actors must be immediate. Because otherwise, everybody can fear about somebody being killed, no? I mean, but that's too far away. So the nexus must be connected, no? So as the act can result in this effect. But if the effect is too far away, then I don't think it's going to.
But you're the
qualify.
one, but you're saying the effect could be far away. Somebody else can think otherwise.
Yes, but it's for the courts to decide.
Okay. All right. Mary Jane Veloso, pag-usapan po natin yan. Indonesian government, well, number one, kailan ho kaya siya uuwi?
Nako. Sana Kapaskuhan or bago matapos ang taon, sana. Oo.
Bakit ho sana? Why is there no definite date yet?
Kasi as far as we know, because we have not been officially informed, by the way, no, we wrote the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Office of the Migrant Workers, and even our Philippine Embassy in Jakarta, requesting them to please inform us of any update. We did that about 3 days ago, no, after all these public announcements. No. So as far as we know, they are still negotiating. No. But in principle, they have already agreed. Even the President himself has already announced that she's coming home. That was November 20, if I'm not mistaken, 1 week after we got wind of the public statement of the Indonesian ministry that she can already go home. We're considering it, and that the responsibility of her rehabilitation and even clemency rests in their home country.
Okay, yun ang kailangan natin po pag-usapan. Brief background, sir. Kayo na po magkwento from the time that, kasi nabasa ko po, she was supposed to die via firing squad.
Yeah.
And I do recall reading, I don't know where, I forgive me, but she already took her last meal. In fact, she didn't know that there was a stay in her execution.
Correct.
Pakikwento po sa amin yung mga kaganapan noon.
Yeah. Siyempre, NUPL was involved, no? Just like floor contemplation, Pinky, if you remember, 1995 in Singapore. I was a very young lawyer then. No? By some happenstance, 20 years after, eto na naman. No? So, nalaman namin 1 week before. So, we went there because we were blind. We couldn't get any information from our government. What happened? What was the stage of the case? So, we coordinated with the Indonesian lawyers. And then we tried post haste to burn the wires and talk to a lot of people to file our second judicial review. It was denied. So on the night of 28-29, I'm not sure anymore because of the time zone difference, 12 midnight, no? I remember, I even saw her, no, that day or the day before. There were 9 of them. All the rest of the 8 were males from different nationalities. She was the only female, and she was the youngest, a single mother of 25 then, because she's 39 now, no? Siyempre, second hand na lang to because we were not allowed to go to the execution island. We were only at the harbor, but we already saw the floodlights, no? Because there was already a firing squad being ready.
Wow.
We were told that they were already being escorted out, no? One by one, single cell. And then nung palabas na siya, sabi, balik ka, no? Balik ka because something's happening. She didn't even know.
Yeah.
And then, mamayang konti, nakita namin na,
Stay.
In Bahasa, tapos may kakaibigan, na stay muna, temporary reprieve, because yung illegal recruiters were in the custody already of the Philippine government. So, nag-grant ng temporary. Loss in the narrative, I'm sorry to really say this again, no? Loss in the narrative is that the stay of execution would not have happened if you, me, everybody else, the church, the migrants, and even celebrities around the world petition for a stay. nawawala yun eh. No? Of course, official act yun, di ba? Hindi naman tayo pwede magsabi kay President Duterte, tigil mo yan.
Opo,
It's the President.
That was Pinoy.
Yes, okay lang yun. Okay lang yun. Pero wag sanang mawala yun, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi lost in the narrative palagi because ganyan-ganyan. No?
Opo, okay.
So anyway, so temporary reprieve. So anytime she could have been put to the firing squad. So maraming appeals for lahat yan na-deny. And then pleasant surprise even for us. Because we were focused on asking for clemency. Not to question anymore. Because final na eh. Umabot na sa Supreme Court ng Indonesia eh. Na-focus kami sa clemency sa Indonesia. And na-focus kami doon sa taking na kanyang deposition ang tawag doon. Taking her testimony. Kasi hindi nga siya makauwi eh. So kukunan yung testimony niya. Nakaka-focus kami. Legal ang focus namin. And unbeknownst to us, meron palang ganyan. Na,
May political move.
Yes, political diplomacy, which is fine. It's welcome.
Right.
We're saving a life here. Doesn't matter who gets a credit. It doesn't really matter.
Absolutely.
So nalaman namin to a press statement shared to us by our Indonesian friends, shared by Migrante to us, na in English translation, we are considering the transfer of prisoners' custody to the home countries of foreign nationals in our jails. And then, I will repeat, the responsibility of the rehabilitation, remission, or even clemency rests in the home country.
Sinabi.
Yes.
Clemency.
Yes. And we will
I
respect
see.
that. Yes.
I see.
And we will respect that. And
you know,
that was even repeated. I'm sorry if I was talking over you.
No, please,
And it
go
was
ahead.
even repeated by the Chief
I
Minister.
see.
So talagang, pag nandyan na, tayo na bahala.
Tayo na.
Yes.
So, ibig sabihin, attorney, we need to end the interview. Kahit na po ang parusang kamatayan ang ipinataw sa kanya sa Indonesia. Pag binalik po siya dito, hindi i-honor, tama ho ba yung, well, definitely hindi pwedeng parusang kamatayan. We do
Correct.
not have the death penalty. Pero hindi kailangang i-honor ang reclusion perpetua, ganun ho ba?
Hindi kailangan.
It will be up to the President,
Exactly.
President Marcos.
That is why
To
our-
what? Ano ho po yun? Kasi clemency, sabi mo nga, para it's clear to everyone. It's a broad term.
It's a broad term.
Okay.
It can range from amnesty to general, to absolute pardon, to conditional pardon, to commutation. The whole
Yun ang
range, no?
clemency.
The whole range yan. Pero sa amin, absolute pardon. She has already suffered long enough.
Okay.
Diba? So, magbibigay ka lang ng regalo, ba't mo titipirin? May power ka naman, may
Mag-all
kapangyarihan
out ka na.
Oo,
Ganun.
di ba? Buhay
Apo.
nakataya dito eh. Bakit mo titipirin? After all, sabi naman ng Indonesia, okay lang sa amin. Basta huwag nyo na kaming questionin. Bahala na kayo dyan.
All right. Attorney Edre Olalia, pleasure to speak to you. Maraming salamat.
Pleasure,
sa
sir.
inyong oras.
Salamat.
And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.